What's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Spectre 9781 coming with another video. Sorry for the lawn mowing in the background, but it can't be helped. So, Godfather. And I have the Coppola restoration, so, what can I say about the Godfather that hasn't already been said? But today, I want to take a look at Godfather Part III. More people ask. I tried to watch Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone, which is just a recut of the Godfather 3. Look, guys, it's still not good. Anyone who says so, that's your opinion. You're welcome to like it, but I have to ask, why did the studio only give Francis Ford Coppola 6 weeks to write this script instead of the 6 months he asked for? Why did they not pay Robert Duvall the money that he asked for? Because the absence of Robert Duvall is felt in The Godfather 3. Really absent. It's really felt. Because Tom Hagen really made up those movies. Really made up those movies. I think he kept Michael center. Or at least tried to. And apparently that's what the original movie was supposed to be based around, is Michael and Tom. Which is the natural conclusion. Because, think about it, Michael and his family, Michael lost his whole family, killed his brother at the very end of part 2. And lost his soul. So therefore, the natural conclusion to come to is that Tom is the only one left. Okay? And, granted, Michael, I shouldn't even go on Michael, in this movie, because he's not Michael Corleone. Michael Corleone is supposed to be quiet, supposed to be silent, calculating, and give an order with just a look. Like a dead cold, freaking stare. You know what I'm saying? Especially early on in the film when Kay approaches him. I'm talking about in Godfather 3. When Kay approaches him, says, "Hello, Kay." Yeah. No. Excuse me. Michael should have been looking at her like this. Even after all those years, should have been still looking at her with the same hatred and wickedness that he felt when after she said it wasn't a miscarriage, it was an abortion. Now, I'm just going over character inconsistencies. One of the things about Michael Corleone is that makes him such a tragic character is his inability to forgive. Now, do I think Connie's abuser had it coming? Sure. Sure. But I don't think that Michael should have killed him. At least, not yet. That's one of the things about the first Godfather that I feel like was a. But I get what it was establishing. It was establishing that Michael cannot forgive. Nowhere is that more exemplified than the ending to Godfather Part II. Now, Godfather Part II. A hit is put on Michael's family. That they were shooting at Michael and Kay. Now, I think it was Anthony who was in Michael and Kay's room playing with his toys a few minutes before the hit actually went down. So, what happened was that Fredo got mixed up. Fredo got mixed up. Okay, got mixed up with Michael's enemies. Just thought he didn't think it was going to be a hit, which is expected of him because he's very naive, and it's because he had some sort of brain disorder when he was born. It's actually established in The Godfather 2 in the flashbacks. Because, for those of you who don't know, The Godfather Part 2 is about the rise of Vito Corleone and his family and the downfall of Michael and his family. Because there's a difference between there's a clear difference between Vito Corleone and Michael Corleone. Vito gained respect and protected his family. Michael, he didn't respect anyone. And no one respected him. Because all he did was rule by fear. Any enemy that he felt was in his way, he had killed. No. Look, now people keep on asking, okay, how would Vito Corleone handle this with Fredo betraying the family? Well, first off, Vito wouldn't have his own family killed. That's one thing that he wouldn't do. He wouldn't have his own family killed. He would, make sure Fredo was taken care of, but he would prevent him from doing any family business. He'd make sure he's taken care of, but don't do any family business. That's how Vito would handle it. Because Vito Corleone is respected, and he's an honorable man. Does not rule by fear. You can tell that by the final scene in The Godfather 2, where Michael volunteers to join the military, and his family's calling him nuts, and Vito comes home, and they all go to celebrate with their father. The only one who doesn't is Michael. Michael's alone. He doesn't want to be a part of that life, which is where he ends up, he even ends up alone. Like at the very end of The Godfather 2, he ends up alone even after the flashbacks, because he drove his wife and children away. Secondly, he killed his brother. and people, I'm seeing a bunch of comments that say Frito had a comment. No. Look, to all you wannabe wise guys out there, there's one thing that you don't do. It's kill your family. Because what's the point of protecting the family if you have no family left? You get me? So, anyway. I just think that, people are like, oh, I see Michael's point of view. I see Michael's point of view as he has no soul anymore. He has lack of forgiveness, which is why it's so easy for him to take out Fredo. Oh, in regards to the Godfather Code. Okay, let's talk about the Godfather 3 now. Despite the lack of character inconsistencies, the inconsistencies I mentioned, right? Look, I want to preference that despite the recut, The Godfather 3 is still boring. There is nothing interesting that happens. Godfather 1, you have all this build-up. Let me explain. Godfather, you have all this build-up. You have the first line, I believe in America. You have the guy telling the story about his daughter got beat up and he went to the cops like a good American. And then the dumbass, so why did you come to me first? And then, in the book it's explained that the Paulie whacked to the two guys that beat the guy's daughter up in an alley. That's what I love for the book. And you have all this build-up of Vito getting shot. After Vito tries to, refuses a deal with, God, what was his name? See, I only watched the movie a few days ago, but I forget some names. I'm not good with names. But yeah, refuses to deal with him. But Sonny shows interest, and then Vito says, never let him know what you're thinking. Don't speak out of term is what Vito was trying to say anyway. Then you have Vito getting shot, which makes Michael want to go after these guys. After going to the hospital, find out the cops are in on the whole hit on Vito Corleone. So, going to Sicily and blah, 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 blah. You have all this build-up in the beginning. And in Godfather 2, you have the hit on Michael's family. Now, who did that? Now he goes to frickin' Miami to go do some business dealings, and then he finds out who the traitor is, and then he just takes out all his enemies here and there. Okay? And then, look, sorry, just got a Discord message. Look, then we get to Godfather 3. No build-up, just dialogue. Just dialogue. No build-up, no nothing. The only interesting part that happens is when frickin' oh god. The only interesting part that happens is when friggin' Michael's bastard of a nephew almost gets killed. That's the only interesting part. like, almost gets killed. Like, that's the only interesting part that friggin' happens in the beginning of the movie. The rest of the movie is about, I get what it's about. It's about Michael wanting to go legitimate, and then, his tragedy, and then all his fighting for that being for naught. I get that. But this is first draft shit because the studio did not give Francis Ford Coppola the time to actually flesh out the script. What the script really needed was Tom Hagen. They should have just paid Robert Duvall and just said, like, hey, like, you're in this movie. And Robert Duvall, let me just say rest in peace to James or Jimmy Caan, because James Caan was a terrific actor. I didn't know him from The Godfather. I knew him as Walter from Elf, aka the movie with Will Ferrell in an elf costume. It's a Christmas classic. I watch it almost every year. He was a great actor. He'll be sadly missed. Robert Duvall is also a really good actor. Al Pacino, great actor, but in the 90s, he started going for this over-the-top parody of himself. And granted, that works for him in, like, it works for him in Heat. Heat is an awesome movie, by the way. Like, if you haven't seen Heat, go watch that. That has Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, and Val Kilmer. It's sad to, it's sad to know that another legendary actor has passed away. But anyway, the movie needed some polishing. It needed a serious rewrite. You could still have, there were still some elements in there that worked. Like, okay, the scene before the ending, okay, where Michael's daughter gets shot and Michael does his silent, like, scream. That is where the movie should have been. That's where the movie should have actually ended. It should have ended there. Not having Michael sitting there alone, and then all of a sudden he gets up and he freaking strokes, and he freaking falls over melodramatically and strokes out. Now, the coda ending, it just zooms in on Michael's face. He goes on living. Because after his daughter dies, his soul dies. So that's some good stuff. However, the rest of the movie is just boring. It's just fluff. It just needed some polishing. And I feel like Michael trying to go legitimate, that's a good plot. Because he said in the first Godfather movie, in 5 years, the Corleone family will be legitimate. And Godfather 2 has brought up Michael. That was 7 years ago. So him trying to go legitimate and redeem himself, that's a good plot for a story. To base around a story. But like I said, it just needed some polishing. Anyway. I hope everyone has a good day. I hope all of you are staying safe, wash your hands, all that stuff. And I know I make videos sporadically, just like, I'm not very consistent with them, but I'm glad I have some form of audience that sticks around. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. See you guys in the next video, whenever that is. I did have a video on Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I don't know. I just,
Goodbye. See ya.